Alright, here is my second project. In this project here, I've given you guys the randomest set of points I've received to date. What this is it looks like the beginning of a dam with a bit of a spillway coming down here. There's a little tiny outlet worked in here. But what this is kind of looks like points. If we zoom into one, we can see that we have an elevation here. And we have a little green node over here. If we pick on the green node, block reference, we'll notice that two block references are there. I'll have to show you guys how to get rid of those in just a moment. But the block reference, if you list it, we'll just do li for list. A dialog box pops up. It tells us a few things that we know. One, that it's a block reference, but that block reference is also at an elevation. Oddly enough, if we look at the elevation, we see this is a nice even number, 955, but the elevation description is 955.72. Strangely enough, if we click on the elevation, do a list of that, we'll see that the elevation actually is where it says it is. So it looks like it's labeling this point, and it probably was in whatever program generated these, but upon its export, it assumed the elevation of itself, which must have been sitting on the surface. So this is an oddball one in general. But this is sometimes all the data that we get. We have multiples of things. If I zoom into this here, I can see that there's two green points and two pieces of text, but if I highlight them and do a list, I'll see that I've actually picked 6 items. I don't want all 6, so there's some duplicates there. So there's a command called overkill. If we just type in overkill, what that'll do is say select objects. I'm going to pick all of these objects. It's going to find 7,090 objects. I'm going to hit enter. Now what it's going to say is, hey, now that I've found duplicate objects, what do you want me to do with them? How do you want me to distinguish them? In this case here, I would like all the defaults to be fine. Ignore the object property. There's all the different things we could ignore, so if I didn't want it to wipe out things that had like 2 lines that were sitting in the same place that had different colors, we'd pick that. Or for layers, etc. In this case here, I want to optimize segments within polylines. That'll help reduce the number of segments. If there's multiple polylines that have a whole bunch of segments like that are going to be straight anyways, but someone just drew multiple points to make a straight line, and everything else looks pretty good. The defaults on this are nice. I'm going to say OK. Let's kind of think for just a moment. And in this case here, you can see that 2,941 duplicates were deleted and 177 overlapping objects were taken out. Now if I highlight the whole thing, now I'll see that instead of getting all the ones I did before, let me hit escape a time or two. If I highlight everything, now I see that I should be getting less. If I do a list, there we go, 4,675. So we've reduced it quite a bit. But with all of these highlighted, now I'm going to take this, do a copy these to my clipboard, and then go to my drawing here that has a template. You can see this is a big old template. And then I'm going to paste all of these to the original coordinates. If I want to, on the Home tab at the very end, we have Paste to Original Coordinates over here on the Paste button. I'm going to use that one. Going to have to think for a moment. And when they're all in there, I can double click my entities that I pasted in. Now when I look at it, if I select one of these, I'll see that if I do a list of this, now I've only got 2 things. 1 block reference, 1 text reference. Again, that text is at its oddball elevation. The nice thing is, Civil 3D gives us a way to use these as well. The other thing that we might want to do sometimes when you're getting points in from a random source is you might want to check to see if they're all where you think they are. I'm going to hold down Shift and rotate up just a little bit. To doing that, I put myself into a 3D perspective, as you can see here. Now if I do a zoom extents, my drawing drops to the bottom because I've got a random red point way up at the top. Normally, if this was a work drawing, not just an example drawing, I would put this on a frozen layer, but for this example, I'm just going to erase that. Now when I zoom extents, I get all these points here in space that I want to use, and I've got some junk down here. Again, I'd probably put those on a frozen layer of some sort, But in this case, I'm just going to wipe them out. It's not, for what we're going to be dealing with, it's not super important. Go back to a plan view. Now, at this point, I've got my blocks I can use, my text I can use, and all of these blue lines, as I saw before, were sitting in space which I can use as break lines to help define the tin that I'm going to make out of these oddball points. To make a surface, or a tin in this case, I'm going to go to the surfaces in my tool space under Prospector, right click on surfaces, say create surface. This one here, just to keep it simple, I'm going to say block. I'm going to give it my favorite style so that I can click the right button. Got to click on that little ellipse. I'm going to pick 1 in 5 design because it gives me some colors and gives me more contours. Say OK, and now I've got a surface. If I open it up, there's my block surface. To put something in my block surface, I need to define it. We've defined things previously with point groups, or point files I should say, or yeah, either way. We've defined things previously with points. We've also defined things with contours. In this case, since we don't have either in this drawing, though they look like points, they're actually blocks. Blocks are to AutoCAD drawing objects. We can right click on drawing objects, say add. We get a list here that tells us all the different things that we can add. We'll notice that points is listed. This is the plain Jane AutoCAD point. That is not a Kogel point like our previous one, so that's a slightly different thing, even though it uses the same word. But in this case, we have blocks that are sitting at the right spot, and since I named my surface blocks, we'll keep it simple. We'll click on blocks. I could give it a description. Why not? Little green guys. Little green guys, there we go. Say OK. Now if I pan out, the cool thing is, since it's only looking for blocks, it will only select blocks. So even though I windowed over my 4,600 some objects, it only found 1,700 blocks. So we're good. Hit enter and boom. Nice, simple surface. This surface isn't exactly what you'd want to use. We can see that it's kind of tinning over these gap areas. And here, again, there's a big gap. We'd want to go in and clean those up, but for what we're doing right now, it's not super important. But that's the basics of a surface made of blocks.